Good evening, all you uneducated and unemployed scumbags. This is the Queen of the Dropkick, Sky Smithson, and you are listening to the 5 Moves of Doom podcast. Enjoy.
And now, the 5 Moves of Doom podcast and 5mod.com present The 5 Mod Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 5 Moves of Doom podcast. This is our weekly edition of the 5 Mod Show. My name is Ben, I'm your host, and joining me, as is the done thing these days, the man, the myth, the legend, Rockstar Jack Dillinger, everybody.
Oh, ladies and gents, what a weekend.
What a weekend.
What a weekend. It all started on Friday with that.
You know the worst thing about, well, we'll get into it a little bit in depth in a minute, but do you know what the worst thing about Friday was?
What's that?
I woke up Friday morning and I was sort of looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I thought, you know what? It's wrestling, it's WWE, it's on at a decent hour in the UK.
Yeah, right.
I can have a beer and a pizza, put it on the telly. It's not 4 a.m, it's 7 p.m, it's awesome, here we go. And then instantly I went, oh, for fuck's sake.
I was kind of the same. I was really the same. So
It's not good, Jack. It's not good.
it was something else, but we will get into it. Right,
We
do
will.
the plugs.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you are following us wherever on your chosen social media platform of choice, Jack.
Oh, what did I say last week? Can't remember. Facebook.
Make sure you head over to facebook.com/5, what are we, 5MOD podcast? Something like that? 5 Mod
Yeah.
podcast? Search for 5 Moves of Doom podcast on Facebook and you will find us. We are ever present over there. And then when you've done that, make sure wherever you're listening to this podcast on, whether it be, Jack, where can they find the podcast?
YouTube.
Whether we're on YouTube, whether you're on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you're listening to us, make sure you drop us a follow or a subscribe. It really does help us out and it lets us know that you're listening. And if you would like to show even more support, head over to patreon.com/5mod podcast and you will find a plethora of some exciting reward tiers over there, which are set to be revamped in the coming weeks as we've got more ideas. Right, let's kick off. Do you know how bad this show was? Before I get into my little bit that I've written, I'll say this. You know how bad it was? I've not done a 5-second review.
Oh, I was looking forward to it as well.
Because here's the thing, ladies and gents, and you're gonna be screaming at the podcast when we go in. We are the only positive pro wrestling podcast on the internet, available anywhere. And when our philosophy and our mentality is to always find the positives in wrestling, always find something that got us excited on the night, something that we went, actually, no, it was great, and this is why we enjoyed it, because our mentality is to be kids again and enjoy the wrestling we're given. But oh my god, how can I try and find the positives in what happened on Friday night? So I didn't do a 5-second review because I didn't think, because the point of the 5-second review is gut instinct, and it was going to be 5 minutes of me hating on something, and I don't like doing that. So I didn't do one. It's a house show anyway, so I didn't do one. But they will be back in 2 weeks for Stomping Ground. But as we all saw on Friday night, WWE held its first of the 2 Saudi Arabian shows for this year. WWE Super Showdown. It emanated from a very, very hot Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. And for all intents and purposes, it fell absolutely flat. It fell so flat that it made a 4-day-old glass of budget Coca-Cola seem appealing. WWE had advertised the show as an equal to, if not a superior show to their flagship pay-per-view WrestleMania, and featured some of the biggest and most high-profile stars in the company, including Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, Triple H, and The Undertaker. So, with a seemingly stacked roster and the biggest battle royal in the history of battle royals, how did it all go wrong, Jack? What made this so bad?
I think the Heat could take some of the blame, I guess. because his matches, you'd think it shouldn't be that bad, but I don't know.
I kind of agree, because you could physically see people were too hot and too sweaty and too blown out. Ziggler even said after his match, "My stamina has never been called into question." And now look at that. So it's a bit like... And the other thing is, I was going to make this point a little bit later on, but as you brought it up straight away, when WWE kept going, but it feels like 100 degrees down there, which is 35 to 40 degree heat for us Brits, did it not seem like they were trying to make excuses from the off?
Yes, I guess.
Because otherwise, why would you draw attention to it? They're going, look at that! It's really hot down there for the guys in the ring, and it's like, yeah, but the fact that you're drawing that to my attention, means that you know it's bad, and this is the reason why. There are a vast majority of things wrong with this show. Oh, where do I start on my list? Right, let's start at the big one: Undertaker and Goldberg.
Oh, starting with that.
The start as we mean to go on, man. It baffles me. It baffles me 100% that this was even a thing. Do you know what I mean? Like the guts of it is that it shouldn't have been on the telly. It shouldn't have been on the show. Right? If you want to use Undertaker and Goldberg, use them in situations that are going to play to their strengths, where you put them in the ring with someone that can carry him, or you put them in someone that's semi-able. I mean, physically, put them in the ring with somebody that can pick the other one up. But they didn't. They put these two together, and even as they did their entrances, and part of me was going, but this is going to be, it's Goldberg and Taker. They'll pull something out. The entrances were fantastic. Like the big.
I can't believe Taker got fired as well as the heat. I was like, you're gonna kill him.
Well, he wrestled with second-degree burns once. He's used to it, isn't he? So.
Yeah,
and you know what?
Death Valley.
No, there it is. You know what I mean? When you're best mates with the devil, he's used to a bit of heat. But the entrance, like I said, the entrances were amazing. The spectacle it was. When Undertaker's entrance was on, I was a kid again. And then they got in the ring and they stared down, and I was a kid again. And I thought, this is it. This is the Monday Night Wars that we never got to see. And then bang, spear, bang, spear. Undertaker sits up, and I was like, oh my god, here we go. And then it all went downhill.
And then he tried to go for a knee bar. I was like, what? What is going on?
A knee bar. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the Undertaker tap out.
My god.
Completely killing the momentum. It was the weakest ass looking knee. I can't do a knee bar, but I bet I can have a better go than that. I'm sorry, Bill, but come on. And then he got thrown into the corner.
He did.
And here's the question that's worth circling online. What do you think? How did he cut himself?
I've got to say, it's a blade job. I can't see any other reason why he'd cut himself on a padded turnbuckle.
Well, I think it was Ollie and Luke over at WrestleTalk who pointed out that when he came out for his entrance, there was on his forehead, there was like a spot of red. And we all put that down to like, oh, well, he headbutts lockers to get himself going. Yeah. He said he wasn't going to do it anymore, but he's been out of the game for a while. Maybe he thought, well, one more won't hurt. And I didn't think anything of it. And then he went into the corner, and when he came back out, he was bleeding. But he also seemed to have this gash along the top of his head. So I think he went into the corner to uncover the blood, like take the plaster off or whatever, but also managed to catch himself on the turnbuckle, and then just gushed blood everywhere.
It was because it makes sense, because if it was a blade job, it would make no sense at all.
I think, well, even if it wasn't a blade job, the fact that they were planning on blood makes it questionable, doesn't it? It's like, well, why? Yeah. Why do you need this blood aspect?
And if that was the spot that they chose to do it with.
Yeah. Braun Strowman gets turnbuckled, or turnbuckles himself 3 times a night.
He does.
3 times on every Raw and every pay-per-view, and when he's on SmackDown, he does it as well. 3 times a night, he'll go shoulder first into the turnbuckle. Never cut his head on it once. and this is Braun. He's not exactly the most reliable in the ring. And Goldberg does it once, blood everywhere.
Stunning.
I think it was painful to watch, wasn't it? I mean, you can see.
Then we had the tombstone, which is.
You nearly killed him again.
It.
Yeah.
And
then he went for the jackhammer.
Then the jackhammer, which I was like, like I was thinking to myself before he was going for. I was like, don't do it. Don't do this because you're not going to be able to pick him up. Oh, he looked like a great brainbuster, but
It looked like a hip toss. Is what it looked like. Shoulder drop, an arm. It was terrible. And then they went. Now Taker's done this move a million times, where he gets put in the tombstone positions himself. He shifts his weight. He flips it over and he lifts him on his head. He hits the tombstone, and Goldberg just couldn't lift him. Goldberg physically hadn't got the strength to the point. Now I know he knocked himself out in the match, and I know he can't remember anything that went on. But even when he went for the chokeslam at the end, he couldn't even jump up for the chokeslam.
no.
It's getting to the point where these Saudi Arabian shows, because as much as I love him and he was amazing, Shawn and Taker and Kane and Triple H last time didn't look convincing. The time before that, where Taker was there and Triple H fought Cena. It's going to get to the point where they wheel out one of these legends for a big. Reportedly, Goldberg got $2 million for that performance. $2 million, and they're going to wheel out these legends for the big money, and somebody's going to get hurt.
That's the problem. Every time you see Taker or whoever, mainly Taker for me, walk down to the ring, I'm already nervous, thinking something could go wrong here. This could be the one.
That's it. I think with Taker, if he's in the ring with the right person, you can sort of go, all right, they'll figure out a way to make this work.
Yeah.
Taker doesn't have to do a massive bump over the top rope. He doesn't have to take all of these huge, like Hogan didn't take any bumps in his career and he made a career out of it. So he doesn't have to. He can still make it work if they need to use him. But it's how long before this Saudi prince goes, how much is it going to take to get Ric Flair?
Yeah.
How much before, I don't care what he did, I want Hogan, Ric Flair in the ring. And then we're left with, and somebody's going to get hurt. Because money. Because I'm not saying Vince would go, oh yeah, Rick, you're fighting. But could you turn down $3 million for one night's work?
Exactly.
When you're Ric Flair?
Exactly.
It's going to lead to somebody getting hurt. And I think this match could have been avoided. If they're going to do Undertaker and Goldberg, fair enough. They should have just done 15 minutes of entrances and 4 minutes of wrestling, and with 3 of them minutes being a stare down.
Yeah.
And have that big, like they did with Goldberg and Lesnar. Yeah, I think we all thought that. And then when he went for that knee bar, we're like, oh, hang on, we're going to drag this out, aren't we? Fucking hell.
Oh, the problem is, if Taker can't do the tombstone anymore, he shouldn't be doing it. You know what I mean?
No.
And
No.
If Taker can't do the tombstone, what else has he got?
Well, the whole thing was, when Taker doesn't do the tombstone, he does the last ride, but I don't think he can do the last ride either, can he?
No, only if they're already up on the turnbuckle, and that's a push.
And only for somebody the size of, I don't know, Ray at a push. He couldn't do it to Dominic.
No.
Oh. Let's go from the end of the show to the beginning of the show. We had Seth opening the Universal Championship in 2019, opening the show. That shocked me. He defended against Baron I thought it was an all right match.
It wasn't a bad match.
It was.
I just with the entrance, with the setup and everything. I thought, bloody Jesus, this is just the Mania revamp, but exact same setup and stuff.
Yeah.
Exact same stage. And then they started again with Brock and Seth. I was like, they really are going with this. Let's just
here
do
we
Mania
go.
again.
The match was all right. I will say the 4 guys in the big title matches, so these two, Kofi and Dolph, I got the feeling that they were just going through the motions.
Yeah.
In fact, you could say that about everyone there. Nobody really wanted to be there. The word is backstage now. WrestleVotes had spoken to a couple of his sources, and the word is backstage is that the show was a complete train wreck. Nobody wanted to do it. Nobody wanted to be there. Unfortunately, if that's the situation, WWE are locked into this 10-year contract. They're going to have to do it.
Yeah.
But that's the situation we're in. Yeah, the Brock stuff. Here's the thing. I'm getting this really, really big feeling that WWE seem to be stuck in like a sort of no man's land, where they want Seth to be champion, but they also want Lesnar to cash in, and they don't want Lesnar to cash in and lose because that'll be the 3rd year in a row the Money in the Bank winner has lost, but also they don't want Lesnar to win because then Seth will have to obviously give up the title.
Yep.
It's hurting the Universal Championship, and it hurt this show.
I didn't mind it really. I could see why. Yeah, I didn't think it was a complete disaster. I think that's pretty much the best thing they could have done. Really.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I honestly don't think they know what they're doing.
That's the problem. I've got it written down in my notes in front of me. Once again, guys, I didn't send Jack the plan, so this is going to be interesting. I think WWE, they need to make a decision. If they don't want him to cash in yet, because I think, personally, he's going to cash in on the first episode of SmackDown on Fox. And that's going to be their big ratings draw on that first night. And then, because there is another rumour circulating online, I think it was Brian Alvarez. I might be wrong. I do apologise to the person that did say this, and to Brian if I ever credited him with something he didn't say, who said that the word is that you're going to be seeing Brock a lot more this year than you did last year. Yeah. Whether that means he's still on a pay-per appearance deal or not, I don't know. But so I think he'll cash in on the first episode of SmackDown, be the SmackDown champion, but then will also be on TV. It's not going to be wrestling on TV, no chance in hell. But he will be there. He will be a champion in the limelight to bring in the ratings to this new show on this new channel on a new night. So if that's the case, they either need to put him in a different program where he's nowhere near the titles, or send him home.
Yeah, I'd send him home. I know he's there for ratings and stuff, but I think with this, you could keep... Because I honestly believe this feud between Seth Rollins and Lesnar, I think it's been great. Honestly.
I do. But I think the longer they do this, when's he going to cash in on Seth? It damages it every week.
Completely drop Lesnar now, and Seth could still be like, is he here, but he's not actually there, and he just goes away.
I would completely... have Seth completely forget about Lesnar. Let's have the whole universe. Now, in reality, we're not going to because of the internet and twats like me and you who sit there going, but you did this. Have the whole world forget that Lesnar has the belt, has the briefcase. Before, when he was away last year, he had the belt, so it was hard to forget that your top champion is out. But you can just send him away for a bit, let him go home and do whatever he does on his farm, take the briefcase with him, and have the world forget. Book Seth in some great promos, book Kofi in some great things, and then when he does come back and cash in, if it is on that first episode of SmackDown on Fox, the whole world's going to go, oh fucking hell yeah, he's got the briefcase. Yep. And it's going to make it that more and more impactful. Every week they do Seth's going to have to watch out, he's a marked man, the purveyor of paranoia. It's just going to take the sting out of when he does actually cash it in. Yeah. And instead of it going, oh my god, he's cashed it in, it's going to be like, oh my god, here we go again. And that's the feeling I got on Friday. When his music went off, we were all expecting his music to go off. Yeah. We all knew he was coming for Seth. So when he came down, it wasn't oh shit, here we go. It was oh, here we go. And I think it damaged it, personally.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have even took him there, to be honest, but Brock probably wants a payday, so it's an easy payday for him. Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I wouldn't have even said he was going to cash in. But
do you think? No, that's the problem. It made for
an entertaining Raw.
But that's the thing as well. Like at the minute, Brock's now this idiot that should have cashed in on Raw, but didn't because he thought, oh, I know, I'll go and get a big payday and still take the title, and didn't. So what? I'm very intrigued as to what they're going to do on Raw tomorrow night, but not for any good reasons. It's more of a how the hell are they going to get out of this one? Yeah. What else happened? The 50-man Rumble. Battle Royale.
I was just thinking to myself before it even started, don't start him in the ring. Don't start him in the ring. Bring him out in intervals or whatever.
First of all, you're not going to remember this because my wife has said I'm making it up as well. But I did say just before WrestleMania that Mansoor would have a big moment at the next Saudi Arabian show, because we've been talking about Mansoor with the NXT. He's been having a bit of a spotlight in NXT. And then I forgot all about him until I saw him in the Battle Royal. And I said to Lindsay, I went, he's winning it. Mansoor's going to win it. What? And she's like, why? I went, because he's the only person they've got in the books that's from Saudi Arabia. And they need to have that, yay, Saudi Arabia moment. Look how good it is. And you know what? I didn't hate it. It was good.
It worked. People who was crying and stuff, so got a huge pop.
It's a shame that that's not going to translate into weekly TV.
That's the problem. I mean, he has, like I said, he has looked good on NXT, but
yeah,
whether I don't know. Triple H can make anybody look like a star.
Well, that's it. All you have to do is have a picture taken next to him. I didn't know it was physically possible to get 51. There was one too many people in it. 51 guys in a ring at once.
No, it was a hard watch.
It's just they didn't do anything.
It was a hard watch.
They were just standing there. The thing is, right, I get why they did it. They needed to have this yay Saudi Arabia moment. They went very, very out of their way to not say the word, Royal Rumble, right? Because that's what they did last year. And if they'd have just done another Royal Rumble, so be it. It was entertaining last year. Whatever. But the fact that they hadn't said that had me thinking one thing. What they should have done, and it would have been tongue-in-cheek, and it would have been shit, but the internet would have exploded, is they should have done the AEW one.
Oh, yeah.
They should have started with 30 in the ring, and then sent 5 out every 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we'd have all been sat here going, oh, you sneaky bastards. And it would have been brilliant. But they didn't. They missed a chance.
Oh, it was... there, at least there's a positive. And they've actually made something of a new up-and-coming talent. So, whether that, translates back in the States, I don't know. If he continues that, who knows? But at least they did something right. As for the Battle Royal itself, it was an absolute travesty.
Oh, yeah. The thing is, though, will it translate into something when he's back into the States? It probably would do if he was on main roster and they could use that as a platform, but he's not. It's back to NXT and it's back to enhancement talent or whatever he's been doing recently.
Well, he's been picking up some wins in actually quite decent matches, which has surprised me, but he's not a baby.
I didn't realise no?
Not on his NXT work at all.
He was 110% babyface on Friday night.
Babyface on Friday night, but
I didn't realise he was one of the 5 they signed last year.
No, neither did I. I just thought he'd come from
until
nowhere,
he said,
really.
We were like, oh, hang on, it's actually quite a nice little story. The thing is, I said this to Lindsay as well. They could have easily got that moment if he'd have been on main roster TV, right? Doesn't have to be on main roster forever. We've seen people go back now with Tyler Breeze and that. If they'd have brought him up, say, after Money in the Bank, or at Money in the Bank, right? And just put him into a little feud with anyone, any heel, just a weekly slot. You know what? Against Joe. Put him in a program against Samoa Joe after Ray had won the title, leading up to Super Showdown. And at Super Showdown, have Mansoor overcome Samoa Joe and have that career-making win. Yeah. They could have had that in a 10-minute match, a 10-minute slot, and then actually done something worth, entertaining and amazing with this 50-man Rumble. That would have been easier because one of the things that did lack on Friday night was storytelling. Yeah, there was no apart from Brock and apart from Dolph and Kofi, there was no coherent storytelling or planning into the entire show, and I think it showed. Yeah, because wrestling, we say this all the time. It's almost as if Vince doesn't listen to our podcast. Wrestling is storytelling, and without the storytelling, it's just 2 guys pretending to fight. Yeah. So they need it. Really. That's exactly what it was. I must admit, Triple H has still got it. His match with Randy Orton was basic, but was decent. But the one thing, I say the one thing, I've done nothing but shit on this pay-per-view so far. I can't believe I'm going to... I do seriously try and find positives out of this. But everybody on the roster that Roman Reigns has been sacrificed at the altar of Roman Reigns, eh? And Shane is the one to go over him.
He's a great heel, man.
I am genuinely stumped by this. I have literally, don't know how to fathom it. Now, that being said, this is going to be a nice little segue into my next section. I've come up with a bit of a fantasy booking for Shane.
All right. It's gonna be
I think there is a chance here, and I've not told you about this because I wanted to see your reactions on it. I think there's a chance that they could capitalise on Shane being this heel general manager, being this heel authority figure. They've taken Stephanie off TV, apparently. Triple H is only there whenever he can be bothered. We don't like the fact that Shane is the new heel authority figure. We don't like the fact that Shane is a thing, but he is, and we're going to have to embrace it, and we're going to have to get on board with it, or otherwise we will be hating for the sake of hating.
Yeah.
Now, I have written a story. I have written a story arc, and I've written an ongoing plan where Shane continues these stupid wins. Every single week on Raw or SmackDown, never both shows, he has to book himself in a match against some mid-card jobber where he struggles and McIntyre helps him win.
Yeah.
So I'm talking Cedric Alexander. I'm talking Apollo Crews. I'm talking Zack Ryder. These sorts of level of people. I'm talking R-Truth. Every single week, he books himself in one of these matches. He does the whole "I'm undefeated since WrestleMania. No one's pinned me. I'm the best in the world" thing, and he struggles his ass against these matches. Apollo Crews is too powerful for him. Truth's too fast for him. Cedric Alexander, even Ricochet, people like that, they just can't catch him. But every single week, something happens to the ref. Claymore, 1, 2, 3. Shane gets another win.
Yeah.
Just by doing that, these talents are going to get times to shine and actually get themselves over. But Shane can build this heat as he keeps always winning. And with every single win, he gets more and more cocky. And as the time goes on, more and more he books himself in bigger and bigger matches. Because somebody can say, "Oh yeah," say Kofi wins in Steel Cage at Stomping Ground, and then he says to Kofi, "Oh, I've undefeated since Mania," and he goes, "Yeah, but I've been in a Steel Cage match." So he goes, "Okay, then tonight, Shane McMahon in a no DQ match against such and such, against Xavier Woods," and then wins it in the same way because McIntyre helps him. But now, not only is he undefeated in singles matches, he went into a dangerous match, like a no DQ match, and he came out the victor. Again, Xavier can look amazing in that match, but McIntyre's going to help him win. So again, we have this platform where people can get in the ring, have 10, 15 minutes on TV, show what they can do, but it's all to make Shane this annoying heel. This is going to go on and on and on and on, till eventually Shane goes, "You know what, I'm the best in the world. It's time that I prove it." And at SummerSlam, he books himself in a title match against Kofi Kingston. And at SummerSlam, the same thing happens. Kofi looks incredible. Kofi's hitting the SOS. He's hit the Trouble in Paradise. He's hit a Trouble in Paradise from the top rope. He's hit an SOS through a table. But McIntyre comes up. Claymore pulls Shane in. 1, 2, 3. And Shane McMahon becomes the WWE champion at SummerSlam.
I absolutely love it.
Because that's exactly what Vince would have done in the 90s.
Exactly.
In 99, he would have booked himself champion. And that's what he's going to do. So now, the whole of the roster's starting to hate him. The audience are hating him. And this is going to go on and on and on. It keeps carrying on. And he gets to the point where he goes, "Every time I'm in the ring, I'm going to defend my title. I'm that good. I'm the best in the world." And the same thing happens. But now he's knocking off The Miz. He's knocking off Cesaro. I mean, I know Cesaro's heel, but a face Cesaro. He's knocking off Finn Balor, Andrade. And all of it. Now he's gone up an echelon and he's defending his title week after week after week, match after match after match. And it's all because of McIntyre. This is going to get us to, say, October time. And something's going to slightly change in Shane again. He's going to be like, "I'm the best in the world. I'm the WWE champion. I'm undefeated since WrestleMania. I'm undefeated since before WrestleMania. No one has pinned me. No one has made me submit." And then he starts to say, "And I've done it all on my own. I'm a McMahon. I was born better. I'm the best." And he's going to drop in subtle hints like that to the fact that he gets that cocky, he starts to forget that it's McIntyre that's done it all.
Yeah.
And then you can see McIntyre start. First of all, he just water off his back. He's just a slip of the tongue. But then it starts to get built. McIntyre starts to take more and more notice. SummerSlam comes. The big rematch we've all wanted. It's Kofi Kingston versus Shane McMahon. Same thing happens, but McIntyre hesitates. Rather than just I've done it, I've got you back. He just hesitates that few seconds, and then after the match, go, what happened there? And he goes, oh, no, nothing. I did what I was asked. I'm here for Shane. Blah blah blah. The same old stick. He's been doing it. Royal Rumble comes. After Survivor Series, McMahon is fuming. He's absolutely. Why did you hesitate? You're supposed to have my back. You're supposed to be me. I'm the best in the world. Don't you know who I am? And Drew he gets angry, but at the same time, he's very much okay. Yeah, don't worry, I got you back. Royal Rumble comes. You got Shane in the ring. He's defending his WWE Championship against. Oh, I'm running out of faces. Let's say a rematch with Roman Reigns 9 months on. Right, Roman can win the match at Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble was a big 4 pay-per-view. It gets his moment. But this time, Drew doesn't help him. He looks like he's gonna, and Shane can be shouting at him, you gotta, come on, help me, referee's down. And McIntyre's like, no. And when he goes, what? He goes, no, I'm not going to help you. You're the best in the world. Do it on your own. And he'll lose. And okay, I'm happy I said Roman now. And then turns around, spear, 1, 2, 3. Roman wins the title. He's WWE champion on SmackDown. And McIntyre has pissed Shane off. And then the next night on Raw, McIntyre comes out. Babyface badass. I've had it up to here with you. I have beaten everyone in this company over the past year. You didn't. It's got nothing. You couldn't do it without me. And then you started to forget I was a thing. That can build WrestleMania, McIntyre versus Shane, where McIntyre destroys him, writes Shane off the company. Monday Night Raw afterwards, we start again with a brand new era.
Yep.
What do you think?
It's absolutely fantastic.
I think that'd be. I know I love my own booking anyway, but I think that'd be brilliant because you get McIntyre to be this big badass babyface. You get McIntyre to have legitimate gripe and want to actually get his revenge on Shane, and in the process, Shane becomes this mega heel that everybody hates.
Yep.
That we can use to get McIntyre over into that babyface spot. I thought about it while I was at work the other day. I didn't have a lot going on, can you tell? But I thought, you know what? As we were here and we were talking about wrestling like we do every week, I would pitch it to you and see what you thought.
Amazing. I don't know. Shane McMahon. I've just seen the light. I mean,
yeah.
I've been saying it for a while, but Shane is bloody fantastic when he wants to be. Because he is so shit.
That's it. And the other thing is, if they're going to go in with Shane being the heel authority figure, go all in on it.
Yeah,
in the 90s.
That far off now. Because he's, like you say, he's beat big names.
Everyone. In the 90s, the reason we got The Rock and Austin and Triple H and Mr. McMahon is because when you had something, you went all in on it. There was no holding back. This is what... Because, to be fair, they had to battle WCW. That's why AEW is going to make them be better. Give it time. It's not going to happen overnight. But WWE will improve because of it. Because they're going to go... We're going to have to go all in on something and gamble. And, some of it will be shit, but some of it will be amazing. And if Becky Lynch had come at 12 months later, when AEW was the thing, Becky Lynch would be the single greatest thing in wrestling. Yeah. Because they would have gone all in on her booking. Yeah. I digress anyway. I got one more question about Saudi Arabia. It was on the next page. Do you think we're in a position with the Saudi Arabias where the Saudi princes are dictating who they want on the shows?
I think that was already well established. Because they have an at least.
Yeah, because I think due to the amount of money they spend, do you think they're going, right, we want Undertaker, and Vince is going, he can't really wrestle anymore. He's like, well, we did just give you $600 billion. Yeah. And they're like, oh, okay, then we'll get you. Because you think there's also that threat that they'll withdraw them. Well, they can't. I suppose it's a done deal. But I didn't know whether they could withdraw their money if they didn't get what they wanted. It's scary.
It's a bad situation. But I will say, a lot of people on the internet seem to forget and just go back to hating Saudi Arabia on the day WWE shows up. So if you're gonna hate them, Hate them all year round.
Yeah.
Don't
If you're gonna, you know what I'd say?
You know, I hate Saudi Arabia now just because they show up on that day.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Be aware of why there is issues with Saudi Arabia. And yeah, I mean, it's not at the forefront of my mind, but at least I have a rough idea what's going on. Right, you know how the last two pay-per-views we've had in WWE have been seemingly average overall? Are you ready to see a pay-per-view that we've already seen? Because in 2 weeks, WWE hold their second pay-per-view level show within 2 weeks. And they hold their so imaginatively titled WWE Stomping Ground. But the thing is, whereas there's only been 5 matches announced, and there probably will be another 700 matches added to it for the pre-show, 4 out of the 5 matches that have been announced have been on WWE TV within the last 2 months.
It doesn't surprise you.
It is very, very bad. We've got Bayley versus Alexa Bliss, which should be quite interesting. We've not seen that in a while. We all remember that This Is Your Life segment. Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. Obviously, that was at WrestleMania this year. Becky Lynch versus Lacey Evans was at Money in the Bank 3 weeks ago. Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin and Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler are 2 matches that we saw at Super Showdown. What is going on, Jack? Why are we seeing so many repeated matches?
You can pick ones that shouldn't be there. I don't think Kofi and Dolph should be there. But
I mean, I assumed that Kofi and Dolph was a one and done, so that Dolph would come in and get a payday.
But you can also look. This is ongoing feud, so it's not. I don't think it's as bad as it seems. You know what I mean? When you say it like that, it seems awful. But when you think about it, it's like this is ongoing. It's going to lead to something else. So, or it's going to be the end. So I'm not hating on it completely.
Rollins and Corbin's got no business happening again, has it? I know they did the screwy finish in Saudi, but why? You know what I mean? If you were going to just do it, if you wanted to do it at Stomping Ground, why wouldn't you just do something different at Super Showdown?
Yeah.
I gotta admit, I did like the screwy finish with the referee. Who do you think you are? I'm the referee here. And it was like, both title matches ended because the referee got involved.
Yeah.
Did you notice?
I didn't.
No. Well, in Kofi versus Dolph, it was. No, not both title matches. It was Roman and Shane that ended because the referee got involved. What do you think about Lynch versus Lacey Evans again?
Who else is the on Raw? Because that's the problem.
That's a good question, isn't it? Natalia, Ruby Riott.
Yeah, but
Natalia or Ruby Riott, Bliss. Bliss, but she's challenging for the SmackDown title. I've got to admit, and I'm sorry, you're probably going to have seen this coming, I'm quite happy that Charlotte's not involved in the title picture. Because I think she needs to sort of take her time away from it and establish who she is outside of, oh, but I want to be the champion.
Yeah.
And I think she's more than capable of doing that. I think she definitely will. I think she's an amazing talent, and she definitely will get that. And she definitely will get that 10th. But, yeah, she needs to. Roman versus Drew worries me because it was shit at Mania.
I'm not expecting a lot from this pay-per-view anyway. I don't think anybody is.
Well, no, it's called Stomping Ground.
It's just a glorified backlash. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's no excuse. I can't make excuses for that because every pay-per-view should feel amazing, but there's got to be pay-per-views
Do you think when it comes to Roman and Drew, it just, individually, the WWE office thinks, right, Roman's a big, heavy-hitting guy. We need to get him in the ring with another big, heavy-hitting guy. So when he wins, we can go, oh, look how big and strong he is. Whereas, in reality, Roman Reigns' best matches have come against AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins. He needs to be in the ring with that sort of person, and they will have an amazing match.
But if you look at that on paper, Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns, that's going to pull viewers in that don't watch it every week. You know what I mean?
That should be a hard-hitting, like heavy-handed beast of a match. It won't be.
No, it won't.
It will be 20 minutes of chin locks, a missed claymore, a Superman punch and a spear. Do you know what I mean? Oh, sorry, I'll do his drive-by dropkick as well, which I quite like, but then again, McIntyre could be used better. McIntyre could be having 5-star matches. Roman could be having 5-star matches. This is the annoying thing. We've got AEW on the horizon, right? And they're coming at it, WWE, very, very quickly. And don't get me wrong, I don't think it's going to be a WWE killer, but it's going to be a very, very good alternative, and it will start a war off. WWE has the roster and the people there to do 5-star matches, to do 6-star pay-per-views and have it. They just don't use them in the right places. No. Regardless of the storyline could be terrible, but Roman versus AJ was an amazing match. Yeah. Seth Rollins versus AJ was an amazing match. Use the talent correctly, Vince. Let them be creative. Let them go out and wrestle, and they will pay you back, and you will get that response. Oh, I'm getting really angry now. Whoa. Did you watch Dominion?
I didn't. I'm still.
Did you see what
I'm
happened?
going to watch that in a minute with my tea. If you let everyone know.
Right. I meant to ask you at the start of the show, and I was just got really angry about WWE then. So I was like, ask him something else that's going to diffuse the situation. Good show. Very good show. Very big tease for another very big match. I'll let you text me later when you see what it is. Right, should we answer some questions before we go home? All right. Rosie Franklin, thank you very much for your question, Rosie. If you were a WWE star on any level and were allowed to get the rights to use any song as your entrance music, what song would you choose to make your entrance to?
Goodness,
I knew you'd. I picked this out of the hat because I knew you would love this question.
You've got to give me more time for this.
Yeah.
You go first.
No, I'm putting you on the spot. Me going first. I would use either "Love Is Blindness" by is it Jack White? Sorry, I'm just going to do a bit of googling now. I want to make sure I give the right people the right credit for the right song. Love is blindness.
Off the top of my head, it doesn't sound. It doesn't. His voice doesn't fit, so maybe not. But he probably is.
No, it is Jack White. Love Is Blindness.
I think it was a cover, wasn't it? It was the original.
I don't know, but it's the Jack White version I would use.
Yeah.
U2 did a song called "Love Is Blindness." Is it the same song?
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that was original. I would.
I know his voice. I can hear it now.
I will be listening to that after we come off air because I've not heard that original. I would either use that or I would use a song called "Runaway" by Hail the Villain. Or would I use "Runaway" by Kanye West? Two very different songs with the same name. I think it depends on your character, doesn't it?
Yeah, completely.
I don't know what you come up with. Come on, I've stalled for long enough for you.
God. I don't know. I'm not without thinking. I'm gonna go with probably "History Strangled" by the Bronx. History Stranglers by the Bronx, or "Double Talking Jive" by Guns N' Roses. Off the top of my head.
Without too much stuff. The thing is, ladies and gents, next week we're going to start off and Jackson will be like, right, I've got one. That's how much he will think about this question and how much music means to him. He will get it exactly right for you. Thank you for your question, Rosie. Interesting question. Luna George asks, at what point do you see Vince and Triple H taking note and making an active effort to combat the rise of AEW? Looking at Super Showdown and the recent Raw and SmackDown shows, they haven't even taken notice of them yet, and it is quite worrying. I have said this before. I don't think Vince and Triple H and anyone in WWE will be taking too much notice until the weekly TV shows start.
Exactly.
And even then, they'll only start taking immediate notice when they're pulling in the same numbers or even bigger numbers in WWE.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I think they've got someone in the office whose job it is to watch Double or Nothing and to watch Fyter Fest and All Out. And just in the meeting go, oh yeah, this is what they've done. And then Vince and Triple H will mock it for 10 minutes. But until the weekly start and until we get some sort of figure that we can put against WWE's stuff and compare, then that'll be the thing. Like, people going crazy about Double or Nothing. Yes, it sold a lot, but... And then they're like, well, let's compare that to Money in the Bank. And I'm like, no, let's not. Let's compare that to WrestleMania. That's their biggest show. Do you know what I mean? You have to compare the biggest show that AEW do to the biggest show that WWE do. And WWE is bigger. I know it's a very crass way of looking at it because of the history of the companies and the stature and the money and the rest of it, blah, 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 blah. But you can't just go, AEW sold 100,000 copies to their biggest pay-per-view. Or... what did Stomping Ground do? I was like, well, you can't compare a B-level WWE pay-per-view to the... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it doesn't add up like
completely.
that. You can't work it out like that. So, yeah, thank you for your question, Luna. But, sorry, Jack, do you agree? Your thoughts?
Completely. I don't think Vince is going to bat an eyelid until they see solid numbers. And even if, like you said, even if it doesn't match up to the ratings that everyone thinks it will, because I've got a feeling it won't. Because a weekly television show trying to pull in numbers at a first, glance is not.
I think there is potential for the first episode of, I think it's going to be called Tuesday Night Dynamite, isn't it? I think that there is potential so that the first episode of that could possibly be one of the most viewed weekly wrestling television shows ever. There is that chance because there's so many people out there waiting for an alternative to WWE.
Yeah.
And AEW's whole thing is that they're going after the fans that turned off in the 90s. So if they can get them, there's so much anticipation on that first episode. I think the numbers will be up there. I think it will probably even beat Raw on the first week. But 6 months, 12 months, 18 months down the line, can they consistently hit that number?
Yeah.
Because if they can do 6 million on the first week, but if they only do 500,000 a week after that, it means nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for your question, Luna. Friend of the show, Mike McPhail. He's going to go mental now. I've given him a shout out. If you had to book a WWE versus AEW 5v5 match for a Survivor Series style, who would you have in the teams? Do you want to take one and I'll take the other?
Yeah.
Which side do you want?
I thought you was doing it the other way. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll pick AEW because that's the easier one.
Easier.
Yeah, I think that's dead easy.
I tell you what, we'll go back and forth then. Rather than me naming 5 than you naming 5. You do AEW, I'll do WWE, we'll go back and forth, right?
Yeah.
Are you going first?
Obviously Kenny.
I will say AJ Styles.
Cody Rhodes.
Seth Rollins.
The Young Bucks.
Are they counting as 2?
Yeah.
Alright, and I'll match you with the Usos.
And Jon Moxley.
That is a very good call. I want people to take notice, and I want people to know that WWE are being serious when they go after AEW in this 5-on-5. So I'll say Brock Lesnar.
Very good.
As a mystery 5th man. So that everyone in the ring and everyone in the arena goes, oh, for fuck's sake. Still with the briefcase, like, hi, Seth.
Exactly.
Can we acknowledge that match will never happen?
No, not in a million years.
Oh, never. I mean, if Tony Khan gets bored and wants to sell up, I'm sure Vince will chuck him a few quid, but... and finally, a big question from a very, very, very special fan of the show. Lindsay Siddle asks, as the majority of the WWE fans and wrestling fans didn't like the Saudi Arabian show on Friday, what 3 things would you do to the show, in hindsight, to improve it?
Don't make them exhibition matches for a start. Don't just throw it, oh, here's a match that's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's one
Give us some
massive
reasoning.
problem.
Yeah. I would, if I had to make, it's a nitpicky thing, like if Vince said, look, Ben, you're in charge of the booking, but you have to have Undertaker versus Goldberg, I would, like I said earlier, I would have booked it as 15 minutes of entrances and 5 minutes of wrestling. And that 5 minutes of wrestling would have been 3.5 minutes of stare down, a choke, it would have been spear, jackhammer attempt reverse, chokeslam, tombstone, 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, it would have been spear, poses for the jackhammer, Undertaker sits up, chokeslam, tombstone, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Exhibition, hard hitting, plays to their strengths, no one gets hurt, no one cuts himself on a padded turnbuckle. How do you cut yourself on a padded turnbuckle? Oh my god. The last change, what would you do?
Open with that, honestly. But then I thought the entrances will kill it. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it needed to be dark for Taker anyway, didn't it? Yeah, storylines, book the match to people's strengths, basically. And I would, and again, it's a little thing, but I would have done a Royal Rumble as opposed to a 50-man Battle Royal.
Yeah.
To make more of a... Yeah, make more of it. And you just cut down the amount of matches on the show and do that instead. And it's a bit more of a spectacle of the thing. So thank you to Lindsay for her question. She's in the other room. She can't hear me, but I'm sure she'll listen. For people who don't know, Lindsay is my wife. So I was like, she was like, oh, I've got a question for your mailbag. I was like, go on then, I'll put it in. Sure, Jack, I want to know what you're asking. So yeah, that was the 5-pod show for the 9th of June 2019. Do you see Stomping Ground being any good, Jack?
Could well be. It could be a sleep pay-per-view where we think it's not going to be, and then surprises us all because they've done that in the past.
I hope so. I think we're coming in on SummerSlam very quickly, so
and the
plans need to be in place for that.
To like it, going into it.
Yeah.
If you go into it not wanting to like it, you're not going to like it.
But if you're going into stuff wanting to hate it, you need to find another hobby.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh well, just think, I'm sure one of them will buy Newcastle United any day now, so then Saudi Arabians will be all over the place. I wasn't even going to mention Newcastle, but there you go. Well, thank you very much for joining me, Jack. It's been an honor. And a big thank you to you guys at home for joining us. Like I said at the start, if you could head over to your chosen social media platform of choice, just give us a like and a share there. That'd be brilliant. And if you do want to support the show a little bit more, head over to Patreon and take a look at our reward tiers. There might, if they don't take your fancy, that's fine. We appreciate you listening. Nonetheless, we have got, I keep promising this every week, but there are more and more shows on the way from us. Dan and Chris have already debuted the second episode of A and Good Day, where they talk about the Colossus from Bogo Road. Nathan, what was his name? Nathan Jones, wasn't it? Yeah. I definitely remembered him until they said. I was like, oh my god, yeah. Very good episode to hear. Go to listen to everything. They will be back every week talking about various aspects of wrestling's past, and very, very soon we have got our brand new series starting called Curtain Jerking, where we invite the biggest and best content creators out there that talk about wrestling to come on and book their Dream 7 match pay-per-view. And if you're very, very lucky, myself and Jack might even have a bash at that at some point as well. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of our exciting new shows coming your way. Until then, we will be back later in the week. Next week, Chris and Dan will be back later this week to talk about something amazing as well. But in the meantime, if you head over to Twitter, you will keep up to date with all of our exciting news. I've rambled on for too long now. I'm rambling. I've lost my notes. My plan's finished. I'll say goodbye and see you all later. See you later, guys.